Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle D, or Coach Danni D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas, and I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danni D, always here trying to help everybody get to that elusive work-life balance. It exists. We can have it. We can be holistically successful. So that's what we're here for. I'm so excited to have my guest today, Shaté Hayes, and make sure I said that correctly. All right,
Mhm.
I want to make sure I get everybody's name correct. Um, she is a creative strategist and a storyteller, and she's on a mission to help professionals everywhere feel a sense of purpose, pride, and pride in their careers. She spent over a decade in her first career as a professional dancer and a choreographer. I want to ask you a little bit more about that.
Mhm.
And making stories come to life on the stage. As an ed tech leader, she embedded strategy and storytelling into the career content and programs her team delivered. Now, as a consultant and founder of Career Steward, Shaté crafts compelling stories and strategies to help impact driven creatives and nonprofits grow their work. Okay, that was a mouthful.
Mhm.
That was a
Mhm.
mouthful. Tell me, before we even get into it, tell me a little bit more about yourself and your entrepreneurial journey. I love people's entrepreneurial stories, and it usually tells so much about that person.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Coach Danny D. I'm excited to be here. I know this is about to be a really good conversation. I would say you just said it all. So my first career was professional dancer choreographer, and that was for the most part like a freelance career, So I was gigging project to project. As an adjunct, that is a little bit more stable, but it's still, in some instances was like contracts, like you're contracting with the school for a certain number of classes to teach. And I was contracting with schools all over the Dallas area. And I feel like that was a really good exposure to like working independently. I did it for over a decade. I hustled like mega, mega, mega hustled. But then when I transitioned to a corporate career, I learned what it felt like to have this stability and like growing salaries each year that I didn't necessarily have to hustle in the same ways for. And, it was a little bit more cushy and comfortable and stable. And I really, really enjoyed that. But the thing for me is I always knew that I wanted to go back and work for myself, but I wanted to do it differently. Whereas I didn't want it to feel so much like freelance. I wanted to go back into business for myself and it feel like an entity, something that lived outside of me that, I don't have to work right for the income that's coming in. And so it just, I had about 5.5, 6 years in a corporate career, moved to a nonprofit. And it was just like with all of my career transitions, there was something about me that had changed. Like
Mhm.
I evolved. The work that I was doing at one point was just like so fulfilling. It lit me up so much. And then all of a sudden it was just like not as much. I wasn't excited about it as much and didn't really agree with the way leaders were doing certain things. And I started to be like, well, dang, I'm giving all my ideas to help someone else build their business and
Right.
to like lead other people's teams and like amass millions of dollars for other people when I could very well do the same thing for myself. And then I also had a mom who was like, girl, every time she saw a young Black woman who was an entrepreneur in the paper making millions, she'd be like, girl, you know, you can do that too, right? So I'm just living and evolving. And then one day it was just kind of like, you know what? I thought I was going to have more time. I thought, this was like a later in my life thing, but I think the time is now. And so let's figure it out. Let's go. So here I am. The top of this year, I left my corporate career and ventured back into working on my own, but doing it differently now that I know a little bit better.
I love that. I love like everything about the story. So like what I heard in that was one, having the confidence to bet on yourself, right?
Mhm,
Because we can know that we are capable, we can know that we have the skill set, but like, just stepping on that faith and like betting on you, that's
mhm,
just huge. Um then also just, listening to that part of yourself that says, this ain't it. Like, this is not,
mm-mm.
I'm not feeling this, because sometimes we just push through because we think that there's no other
Yeah,
option. But, you could do something that you are feeling, that you that you
yes,
enjoy, that you get excited to do, every day. Like, you don't have to feel the dread, right?
yes.
And then the growth of knowing, I want to do this, but I want to do it better.
Mhm, mhm.
Like that's a message all in itself,
That's a word.
because I feel like a lot of times, especially as entrepreneurs, we jump in on something that we love, right? Like,
Mm,
we love the thing that we do,
mhm.
but we don't often think a lot about how we do it,
Yeah,
or how we structure it, so that it doesn't become the same stress that we were walking away from.
yep, yep.
So I absolutely love that. So when we talked, we came up with this topic, and I'm just so excited about it, of building a career from the inside out.
Yeah.
And I feel like you already like jumped into the meat of that, just even in like telling us your story. But what does that mean to you, to build it from the inside out? And um also, how do you do that without burning out?
Mm, I love this question. So I'll tackle the first part. How do you build, what does that mean to build a career from the inside out? To me, it means, so think about this. Most of us were, when we grew up, we were exposed to careers through some sort of like career day, right? So you sit in a classroom and we get a lineup of people. You get the doctor, the lawyer, the firefighter, the police person, policewoman, or man, I'm trying to find a PC way to say it.
Right,
Um,
yes.
um,
The
the
police.
right, the police. There you go. The law enforcement, right? Then you have the astronaut, and like we see these sort of staple careers, and then kids are sort of told, okay, pick one. Or I'll speak for our generation. I don't know what kids today are getting. They might have some like tech and AI virtual reality enabled thing. But for us, it was like sort of these are kinds of careers you can have. Pick one. And we were taught to pick a career by looking outside of ourselves.
Mhm.
Like, what seems impressive? What does good for the world? What makes a lot of money? Like, and that's how we went about picking college majors and careers. And then for so many of us, we get into said career that sounds so good on the outside, and we get into it and we're like, oh my gosh, I hate this because it does not resonate with with who we are as a person
Yes.
on the inside. And so I'm suggesting that we flip it. And even if we're already in a career, it's never too late. It's never too late to set yourself free. Flip it, to say, start with instead, okay, what are my strengths? What am I good at? What comes natural and easy to me? What are those skill sets that are just second nature for me? What are the things I care about? What are the things that piss me off? What are the things that make me cry? Well, like what are the things that
Yes.
move me? And how can I use my skill sets in service of those things and those people that thing impacts? And build your life, your career around that. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't want to say that you have to be monetizing that thing, because I think you can have like a 9 to 5 that you just clock in, you get your paycheck, and then you go do the thing that's more purpose driven outside of that. I think that's totally fine. But I also just think it's important that we are not sitting around hating the work that we do, because
Mhm.
that is literally killing us, and we can talk about that later. But yeah, that's the how of building the career inside out.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, so many people are just sitting, just suffering through it. Like, that's just life. That's
Hmm.
just how life goes. And I love, that you talked about like those career days and things because, I had the privilege recently to do a career day for like a middle school,
Mhm.
and I went in as an entrepreneur, but my other business is balloon decor.
Mhm.
Not something you hear
Mhm.
every
Mhm.
day, but I was glad to do that
Yeah.
because, you know, I never thought that I would be a balloon decor artist. Now that was not in my dream or my plan, right? But I never saw anybody step outside the box.
Yeah.
Like it was like you said, it was always those standard professions. And if you weren't those things, then it was almost like you were, like,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
like I felt like, and even now, sometimes when I meet people and I introduce myself and I say I own a balloon decor company, I feel like it's equivalent to when you ask like 5-year-olds what they want to be, and some of them are going to say a doctor, and some of them are going to say a lawyer, but there's always going to be that one child that say they want to be a dinosaur, and that's what it feels like when
Yeah.
you say that you want to do something that's not traditional. It's
Yeah.
like, like I it really can be a thing. So I totally agree about looking inside first because it just it just hit different. Just from
Yeah.
somebody who has, done the corporate thing, done these, and has found their passion,
Mhm.
it hits totally different.
So different.
And, even though you still have to do work, it does
Mhm.
not feel the same. I know that sounds so cliche, but um I've been like physically ill, like like I'm feel like this the like Fred Sanford, I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth. Like I've been feeling that bad, but known that I had a class that night. I had
Mhm.
a group session or something. I had a podcast interview to do or whatever it is, right? And for that time that I am doing that thing, you would never know how I was
Yeah.
feeling before because it empowers you that much. And I
It
feel like
energizes you. Yes, it definitely energizes you.
everybody needs to experience that.
I agree. I think everybody should feel that way. Yep.
So let's talk about the burnout piece because I know that that
Yes.
is
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
like a huge thing for people, especially transitioning into whether it's entrepreneurship or it's just paving a different road, because it could be a career. You could still be, employed, but it might just be a different path that you want to take that, highlights your unique skills.
Right.
But, change and, all of that stuff tends to, put people in a space of overwhelm and then sometimes burnout.
So let me tell you what I learned about burnout. That career I mentioned, my professional dance career in my 20s and 30s, I absolutely burned myself out. And I burned myself out doing the thing that I loved most. So I definitely want to say that I have been exhausted doing things that I don't like, and that was a different kind of energetic drain. And I have been exhausted doing things that I absolutely love. What I learned about myself and about burnout in my 20s is I was just so in a rush to get somewhere, but I don't
Mm,
know where, it's just like
yes.
I gotta be there. My friends over here booking jobs with Beyonce and Tyrese and insert any other artist, Mario and Missy, and like they all doing the things, and I'm not yet. And so I'm like, okay, let me double down and go harder. So I remember the year of the burnout very clearly. I think it was like 2007 or 8. I'm working overnight at a hotel to pay my bills. So I worked, I think, a night audit from like 11 p.m. to like 7 a.m. in the morning, which is a very hard shift to work because it goes against your natural rhythms,
Mhm.
your circadian rhythms. And so I'm doing that so that I can be free during the day for auditions, right? So sometimes I'm leaving work at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., going straight to an audition for 9. And then maybe I'll sleep a couple hours after that, and then I'll go to class because that's where you network, right? And so I'm just doing this like clockwork every day, all day. And then I'm not giving myself a chance to rest physically. I'm not giving myself a chance to rest mentally or spiritually or emotionally. And I'm just like, got to do more, got to find more, be there, be there, be there until I felt like I'm on this hamster wheel. And then I look up and I'm just cranky and tired. And my friend's like, what's wrong with you, girl? And my romantic relationship is like, hanging on by a thread. And it's just like, I want to quit everything and I want to quit everybody. So
Yes.
I did. And then at first looking back, I was like, oh, am I depressed? And then I was like, no, you just overworked yourself. You was about to kill yourself, girl. And so I literally had to sleep for like a month and then started to come back to myself. And so now on this end of it, when I was in my 20s, I really wish I had stopped to just enjoy life in some kind of way, any way I could have. Looking back, watching Insecure, like if my LA days were like Insecure, I may have not burnt out. I could have just enjoyed it a little bit more. But it's now, even as I'm building this version of my business and my life and career, I am mindful of like, okay, I'm actually gonna stop working at a certain time at the end of the day. I'm going to take my weekends. Even if I see an email about an opportunity I'm so excited about, I'm like, nope, I'm going to keep the boundary with myself. I'm not going to answer that until it's a business hour. I'm just going to like slow down. I was about to cuss. I didn't know if we could say swear words.
You're all
like,
right. You're all
okay.
right.
I'm like, just slow down.
Like I walk with Jesus and I cuss. Okay.
Well, because then I'll say it. What I want to say is like, slow the fuck down, girl. Like, where are you going? Like, where are you go in a rush to get to? So now it's like, okay, if I don't want to end up in that place again, like, yes, I need to work hard. Yes, I need to be disciplined and dedicated. And I also need to factor in that my body, my mind, my spirit, all of that needs to rest and recover as well.
Yes. 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 That's all I can say is yes, because I've definitely experienced it. Your 20s sound like my 20s. And at this ripe old age, I can't do that no more. Like that's not even my body don't eat like my body's like, girl, girl, girl. What we about to do is go sit down. Like you cannot do, I used to like have a work schedule. I would have classes during the day, work on Friday, after like the evening shift, right? Go out, then work Saturday, the morning shift, go out again, and then work Sunday, the morning shift, and then return to school on Monday. And now my body's like, girl, look, you got one good day.
That's right. You pick
you
one.
got one good day to not go to sleep. And then after that, we have broken up. So figure that out. Like it's not, I can't do that anymore. But what I've learned is that what's the point of getting there if I didn't enjoy the process? And if I don't enjoy the process, I'm not going to enjoy the upkeep. Like,
that's
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's never going to be good. Like, it's never going to be enough. And
wait, can we sit in that for a while? That was a whole word for me. That was good. If you don't enjoy the process, you're not going to enjoy the upkeep. That's good stuff. I needed that.
I mean, I realized it because I'm like, okay, people want you to be here. People want you to be there. People want you to be everywhere. And it's like, you know what? I'm not enjoying this. Like, if I'm waking up and I'm like, I'm already in a sour mood because I got to this and I got to that, and it's not feeling good. And it's not things like you said, it's something I enjoy, but it's taken over. It's not in proper balance. You know what I'm saying? And so now I, look at it like my life is a rubrics, like, the school projects, and I need to make sure that I'm covering all of the metrics. And if I'm not, then we got a problem. So like you said, an opportunity can come up, but you know what? If I haven't met my criteria for rest,
Yeah.
then oh well,
Mhm.
that can't happen
Yeah.
because it doesn't make sense, and
Mhm.
so it's just changing that perspective. Or, sometimes I'll get like something that just sounds like such a great opportunity.
Mhm.
But once I start thinking about it, if I look at, okay, but I got this going on and I got that going on, it goes very quickly from something exciting to something stressful.
That's real. Yeah, I've been there too.
And so then I'm like, you know what? Nope. Let's go back to boundaries. You mentioned
Mhm.
boundaries. Let's go back to those boundaries. And my boundary is, I just we were just talking before we got on here about my son being in town. I was playing hooky, with my son in town. I mean, there was some things that I, had to do. I had obligations, but I didn't add anything
Yeah.
because I wanted to be able to be present. I knew he wasn't gonna wake up until noon, so I tried to get everything I
Mhm.
could done before then. But like, if
Yeah.
you trying to cross over this,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, that's a word. I really like this. And I used to be so annoyed when people were like, trust the process, because I never fully understood what it meant. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? And it always felt like cliche. And it's like, I always felt like people just say that, just to like get you to calm down. I was just always just frustrated because, again, I'm in a hurry to get somewhere. Like, I got stuff to do. But now I feel like I'm starting to, instead of just say trust the process, I'm starting to be like, okay, how can I trust me? How can I trust God? And let that be enough. But I want to also start trying to enjoy the process. And so now
I
I'm
love
like,
that.
each day when I get up, what's something that I can do that I actually enjoy or that brings
Mm.
me joy in a really rich way? I love the work that I'm doing, but is there any one particular part of it that excites me more than the other? Sometimes I really like designing things in Canva. And so sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take the extra 30 minutes on this because I'm actually enjoying this. My therapist would often say, like, just find something like out of the ordinary, follow your impulse and see if that will bring you some joy. So, like, in the moment, even though I have a schedule, if I feel like taking a walk to the mailbox, maybe I do that, right? Like, how can I each day, even though I have this schedule, even though I have responsibilities, obligations, all of these things, how can I just find the joy in what I'm doing, make sure I'm doing it in a spirit of excellence, make sure I'm doing it in service of others, and sort of like let that be enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of
No, absolutely.
trying to get somewhere, you
I
know?
think, I think we have been programmed to believe that, joy is like those, those towels in your grandma's bathroom, that
Mhm.
you
Can't
just
touch
can't
it.
touch it on every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's for company. I don't know what company, like, because company has come and gone.
Right, right.
I don't know if it's the president. I don't know who gets to use those towels, but
Yeah.
it's like that, like that we feel like you can't have joy. And I'm like, find joy in as many joyful moments as you can pack into a day,
Mhm,
pack them in. And when you start to think of it as normalized, then
mhm.
it doesn't have to be like this grand thing. I mean, I'm not saying go take a flight every day, but
Right, right.
I like to, sometimes I like to drink my water out of a fancy cup.
That's
And
enough.
if
That's
that's what I
good.
feel like in
Yes.
that moment, that's what I'm about to do.
Mhm.
And it might be silly to somebody else, and but because it makes me happy, it makes me smile. I love,
Yeah.
pens, so I get my little cute little pen out. Man, I could be doing something I can't stand, but if I'm writing it with a cute pen, I'm like, okay, wow, we about to do these taxes with this cute. But finding
Yeah.
that joy, I love that you said that because that is like something that I try to get that message out there of, like, just find joy in
Mhm.
as many spaces as you can because you deserve it.
Yep.
Um, Another thing you said, you talked about trusting the process. And I would like to throw this out there on that note. Because I do feel like that's the way that people try to gaslight you, like, because they want you to do the
Yes.
thing that they want you to do.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Trust whose process?
Mm. Preach.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
good.
Because that's your process. You want me to trust your process. I don't know you like that, and I got trust issues. So let's not. I know what God's process for me is, right?
Mhm.
And so knowing that, it makes it so much easier for me to know when your process and my process are not aligned. And
Mhm.
so I spend a lot of time, like, sitting with myself and sitting with God on that, because it makes it a lot easier, because there were times when people come with these opportunities and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, I don't know, this ain't really all the way sitting right with my soul. But you, again, they telling you trust the process.
Mhm.
And now it's like, he ain't say that. And he ain't tell me you
Mhm.
was coming. So
Yeah.
I'ma just let that sit on the side, because sometimes it's not your process. Sometimes it is that person. They want what they want out of the situation.
Mhm.
But we do have to get back to, like you said, trusting ourselves. And, really, like, your gut is going to tell you every time.
Listen, yes. And we gotta, I think, be know what that still small voice, the gut, is telling us to do. So you gotta have, like, be able to be aware of it, because y'all, it is so faint sometimes, or most of the times. It is legitimately like just a whisper, and it will be there in a second, and you'd be like, wait, what was that? You know what I mean? And so to even catch it, be aware of
Mm-hmm.
it is
Yes.
one thing, but then to follow it, and to follow it quickly is another thing I've been dealing with lately. It's like, because I'll hear a thing and be like, am I supposed to do that? When I'm supposed to do that? Let me talk to somebody about it. Will you pray with me about it? And it's like, how many times? How many times you got to hear it, child?
No, I'm gonna give you a couple of words on this. So, one, what I learned when I started practicing stillness,
Mm,
and I say this jokingly because me and Guy's relationship is playful.
mhm.
I hope he understands and respects that. But I'll find out one day. Um, but I remember when I started getting comfortable sitting in stillness,
Mhm.
and I said, Lord, you've been this loud this whole time?
I was just doing too
Because
much.
I
Yeah.
don't feel like we hear his voice, because we're so busy and our
Mm,
lives are so loud.
mm,
We can't hear him.
yeah.
And then I feel like when we start to practice stillness and when we start to remove some of those things, that's when we start to actually hear that voice better.
Yeah.
When we remove those layers, we
Mhm.
hear the voice better. Now, part two,
Mhm.
you said about listening to that voice, right? So, my mantra for this year is, I'm not going to play in God's face.
I thought about you. Yes.
And a part of that is, I try to think about if I was God and I'm not set up. I'm not, because we don't act right. And I don't know that I could have that type of patience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know how I act. And so I know I don't think I have that type of patience.
Mhm.
But if I put myself in God's shoes, like, God is God. And God said, Shaté, go do this thing.
Mhm.
And then you said, Keisha, girl, you think I should do this thing?
Yep.
If I was
Yep.
God, I would be sitting there like, are you kidding me? Who the hell is Keisha? I made Keisha. How will you go ask her? Mom,
Yep.
God said.
Yep.
And so I think about that when I know that I'm like hesitating or I'm like, I'm, not just moving on it.
Yeah.
And then there's just been some times where I just didn't, and then I had to sit in the consequences of not.
Yeah.
And sometimes after that hits you hard enough,
Yep. You'd be
you
like, okay,
like,
now what you
no, no, friend. The answer is
say?
no. The answer is no. Like, ain't no maybe.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to experience that again. The answer is no. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've been like I've been going through like just that process, that faith process of knowing, hey, you have to start trusting. You have to believe.
Mhm.
And I know that it's not a lack of belief in, I heard this somewhere and it like really hit me. It's not a lack of belief in God, it's a lack of belief in us.
Mhm.
But we have to see ourselves how he sees us.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Yeah, I think even with that, I don't know how we got here, but I'm here for it. Like I love this is helping me. So I love that, trusting God, hearing God's voice, acting quickly. And the other thing that I have learned this year is that not only am I trusting God and learning to trust myself even more, but I think I have learned in the season that God actually trusts me too. Meaning,
Yes,
like that
yes,
is why he has required this much of me. That is why my instruction is this thing and not this other thing. That is why I've been doing so much complaining this year because it has been a very tough growth season for me. And I have just been at God like, I don't understand why my life got to be like this. Why I got to be the one that's always going and
yes,
jumping and skipping and
yes,
diving
yes,
while
yes,
everybody else is
yes,
over here
yes,
in a soft life and I'm over here got to sacrifice. Like I literally have let him have it. and and I intentionally have let him have it. Like, I need you to know, I'm just giving it all to you. This is exactly how I feel on the inside. But even in terms of like business and any other part of life, I have learned that, gosh, if I'm knowing now that God trusts me, then that has given me so much more permission. And I guess, yeah, permission is the right word to like trust myself in the
yeah,
same way. So that's been really, really, I think, lovely and helpful too. And also a very hard thing to walk through.
yes. I like to say is yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. Um, yeah, I think it is. It's a journey.
Mhm.
But I also, I trust the fact that he knows why I have to journey in this way, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I love what you said about being honest with God. Like, I had a conversation recently with my husband, and I was talking about it because I was in this group and I had to leave the group because it was becoming too much. But it was a group of like, women of faith. And this one lady was sharing, a struggle she was going through. And the response that she got, I just, it didn't sit right with my spirit. And my thing is, why can't we be honest with God?
We absolutely can.
You know what I'm saying? But people always make
Mhm.
it seem like you can't be mad with God. You can't be frustrated with God. You can't
Mhm.
be, that doesn't mean that God is not God,
Yeah.
but we still human. Like, regardless of what the situation is, we are still human. And if I'm mad with my husband, he's gonna be the first person to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
gonna be the first person that I'm gonna sit down and say, hey, I didn't like that you did this or this upset me or whatever. That's we ain't make it this 20 years not talking to each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
so why is that any different? And I just love that you said that because we have to be able to have that open communication, because if we're being disingenuous, then how do we deepen our relationship with God?
It's not a real relationship, in my opinion. If it's only like I'm only gonna bring you certain things, then that means you're keeping a whole side of you, part of you from this person you're supposed to have the deepest relationship with.
Right.
And And the other thing is, like, God already knows it anyway. And it's
That
not this,
part.
it's not disrespectful. You're not like cussing God out, but you're like, hey, I hear what you said. I feel away. I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's like
Right.
that's honest. That's honest. And I think God, that is okay. When we are guided to lay things on the altar, that's what it looks like for me. Like, I'm giving this all to you, and that means every grievance, every annoyance, everything, and then I'm gonna be okay, and I'm gonna still pray and worship and all of the things to you. But yeah, I disagree with that we gotta sort of come with this sort of formal, like, the veil has been torn, y'all. So
Right.
just give it all, you know?
Right. I mean, and to me, I think when I had that realization,
Mhm.
I think sometimes it's not the thing that we need help with. It's us journeying through the thing, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I think when you can say it out loud, hey, I hear you, God. I understand that I know we going somewhere, right? And I know you're not trying to tell me all the details, even though you made me to like
Right.
want to know all the details. I'm not
All
gonna
of it.
question you on that, but that do seem a little sus. I'm just saying. But that being said, in this moment, I feel scared.
Yeah.
In this moment, I feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
In this moment, I feel angry.
Yeah.
Because I think when you can say that to God, he can help you
Yes.
deal with those emotions. But as long as you acting
Yes.
like everything is everything, and he know you sitting there mad because he know.
Then
So
what you gonna
let's
do? Be
talk
out
it
here just
out.
not talking? Yeah, you just not gonna talk to God at all? Like, I believe that God would rather you be talking to him and giving it to him than, holding it. Mm,
Yeah.
all of this. Yes.
Yes. And I really like hope that, I know we got off topic. We always do. It's okay. Uh, I I'm a big believer of God leads the conversation where it needs to
Listen.
go and where
Mhm.
the listening ear needs to hear. So
Yep.
I'm cool with that. I hope that it helps somebody, relax the fact that, they feel like they have to have this perfect relationship with God, or they can't be, like, it's showing some sort of lack when you don't, just wake up joyous every, morning
Mm,
about,
mhm.
everything that's going on in life, or, people talk about gratitude and gratefulness, and, you can have gratitude and be angry too.
Yes, they can coexist at the same time. At the
Like,
same time.
it's nothing wrong with that. And
Mm-mm.
especially on, growth journeys, they're not cute.
Listen, who you telling? Who you telling? I literally was like, God, okay, let's talk about 2025 because this 2024 ain't it. And I am not interested in any version of what this just was. So let's talk about how 2025 has got to be better. Like, it has. I don't want no other options. I don't want to hear like
So for
baby.
me, I feel like it was 23, still leading into 24. I feel like in the last couple of months, it's like I've been seeing um transition, change,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing that I actually did a video on this the other day is stubbornness.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is a lot of times when we know we're going in a direction, we have, decided that we Google Maps and we know how it's
mhm.
supposed to go, right? And then God takes us down some side road and we like, where we going? And
Right.
we want to take the wheel back and we want to, how they do the
Yeah.
reroute. We want to reroute
Mhm.
back to that original route. And I really believe that, sometimes it's him just waiting us out to just yield.
Baby, because when the exhaustion, I have surrendered out of exhaustion this year. Like I'm too tired to do anything else but to just take my hands off the wheel and be like, go ahead, you're gonna do what you want to do anyway. So you might as well.
And I'm telling you, like, that was it for me because I was so stuck.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, so I understand that you saying that, you know, we going this way, but you sure you don't want to get on the interstate? Like, what we do?
Right. Make sense.
Like, I feel like we supposed to be going west, and then you had went east, and I don't know if we gonna still end up at the same place.
Right.
And it took for someone to, like, I was just sharing, like, you know, where I was, and they were like, well, why can't you do this? And I was like, oh. And that was like that light bulb moment. And I feel like I was like, oh, okay. And then I had to go sit back with God, and I was like, oh, because you was like, you were so stuck on this that you were missing everything else. And once I like freed my mind, all of a sudden it felt like the floodgates just started opening of all the things I was trying to get to. And I mean, it was almost like God was like, I know that you're trying to get to this location, but I'm trying to tell you that it moved. They relocated. They're not there no more, you know, but you keep going over there because you think that that's where we're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
And you know, so I'm just throwing that out there for anybody that resonates with, is like, let go.
Yeah.
Let go of what you think is supposed to look like and actually fully yield, because you know, we say we going, but then them control issues come right on back out. And
Listen, you ain't got to be in my business now. So
look, I'm just speaking my own business now. If it gets you, it gets you too. I'm just talking my own, because then it's like, oh, well, this, and this, and he be just sitting there in the cut, like,
right.
are
I'll be
you
like,
done?
I got it. I got it. Listen, I
Look, are
know what
you
I'm
done? Are you done? This was a
doing.
beautiful presentation that you put on with the 92 slides and everything, but I already know. So can you
Yeah.
just get in the car and just, you know, I don't know, maybe shut up and
Mhm.
just go for the ride.
Just sit down somewhere. Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah. That's a word. That's a whole
Yes,
word.
absolutely. Now I'm gonna wrap up because I know you have another appointment coming up, and I know I'm gonna need to have you back because
Please.
this was
Yes.
just a powerful conversation.
Yeah.
We just scratched the surface, but I
Uh-huh.
mean, look, when church happened, and
Listen, get
we
what you
have to
came
comply.
for. Yes, we have
We have
to.
to comply because I know, you know, sometimes I need a good word to get me together and get me back on
Mm-hmm.
where I need
Same.
to be.
Same.
So I'm gonna hit these wrap up questions, and then I'm gonna give you an opportunity to let everybody know how they can get in touch with you. So
Okay.
my first wrap up question is, what are your favorite pair of pajamas?
Ooh, so my favorite pajamas, and there's not one in particular, but I'll tell you the type. The
Okay.
ones that I like the most are shorts with like tank tops because I overheat when I sleep for whatever reason. It's got to be ice cold. And so those are the things that I don't sweat in as much. So, but I love when they are like, have some sort of affirmative saying or cute saying, and they got all the
Ah,
colors and design. So any kind of little short set with, and they don't make as many of those for like grown women. So sometimes I find myself having to look for like the younger younger girl stuff, but like just a larger size because they're just funner. Like, you know, it seems like all of our stuff either has to be like super serious or flannel or super sexy. And it's like I want
I just want
fun,
something fun, like just
yeah, fun and
playful.
light.
Like I'm a
Yeah.
grown child.
Yes, exactly. Find that joy. And I would like to have more joy when I sleep, you know? So
I saw a jacket on I don't remember, it was like a little, like on a Facebook ad or something like that, and it had this big rainbow across the back, and it just reminded me of like Care Bears and stuff, and I was just like,
Mhm.
But why y'all don't have it in my side?
Yeah, you know what? We might be onto something actually.
Like
We
I
need,
need me like I need playfulness in my adult life.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
to bring it back.
oh, finish this sentence. My time freedom allows me to.
Mm. My time freedom allows me to, that's a good question. My time freedom allows me to do what's most important in life, meaning be there for my loved ones, be there for people I want to serve and support in a richer way. Like I get to be where I choose to be in ways that are like most important to me.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, what's the best advice that you can give someone who's seeking the profits in pajamas lifestyle?
Best advice. I'll give a piece of advice, I guess, and then also a word of encouragement. Best advice is there is no one way. There are an
Mm,
infinite number of ways to build your profits in pajamas lifestyle. I used to go around, I've spent thousands and thousands and like lots of zeros behind the number of money looking for somebody to show me the way. Can you
mm,
show me the way to build a successful business? And every time I would get something that I could use, but then it would be like this ain't quite it. It doesn't quite work for me. Until really just this year I realized like, oh, there is no there is no one way. There's a lot of different ways. And the way that works is the one that resonates with who I am as a
right,
person, as an
right.
individual. So whatever you're seeking to do, figure out how to do it in a way that resonates with you. Take the best practices, take the wisdom, take the wise counsel, and then, remix it to work for who you are. And then that leads me to the word of encouragement. You can, period. Like whatever it is that you desire to do, you can do it. Will you have to put in some effort? Yes. Will you have to step outside of your comfort zone? Yes. Will you face some challenges? Yes. And it is so worth it. You can do it. Like, and it'll be so like rewarding on the other side of that. So, yeah.
I absolutely love that. Yeah. I call them cheat codes. Like, you take that
Mhm.
information and you adapt it to who you are,
Yep.
because it's not the thing that works for the next person may not work the same for you because
Right.
it wasn't tailor-made for you, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is no wrong way, I'm in
Hmm.
a podcasting group and they're always like, telling you the right way to do this and the right way to do. And everything about what I do is not the right way. And
Yeah.
I absolutely still love it because it works for
Yeah.
me and my community. And
Hmm.
so um I don't want it to be any other way. I love the stream of consciousness like conversation. I love it. And
Hmm.
so just saying it to say I love the encouragement as well. You absolutely
Hmm.
can. It's not gonna look like anybody else's way, and that is okay.
Yep.
That is okay. And that goes back to what you said before about learning to hear and trust that voice.
Hmm.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so how can people get in touch with you? Do you have something that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah. So since we're talking about, building life on your own terms in a way that resonates with you, we will definitely have to do a part two so we can talk about like all the career stuff. But that's where we started.
That's where
And
we
that's what
started.
and that's
We
what I
tried.
help.
We tried.
Right, we tried. I help creatives like us figure that out. Like how do we put the pieces of our nonlinear background together? How do we move towards something that is more fulfilling and more free and like put all of those things together and convey the story, tell the story of that. And so I've got a guide to help you sort of do the reflection and the research to figure out like what is the thing that actually might light me up more than what I'm doing now. And you can find any resource that I have, including the one I just mentioned, at lightmycareermatch.com. You can also be plugged into, all the I share so many fumbles throughout my own career and like all the lessons I've learned from them. You'll find all of that at lightmycareermatch.com.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And I will put the link in the show notes so that everybody can get to it. Take the time, go get the guide. I know one of the main things that I deal with all the time when I'm dealing with clients is the fact that I'm sorry, I'm seeing that my computer has not been plugged in this whole time. So I just want to make sure we don't lose each other. But so one of the things that I, experience a lot with clients is that lack of understanding of their identity.
Yeah.
And that shapes everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like
And you
that
have to start there. Yeah.
you have to start there. So get the guide, get in touch, and start that journey so that you can start like really feeling ownership of the business. You know what I'm saying? Like that you're not feeling like this is just something that's like exists, but that you don't feel that
Mhm.
deep connection to.
Mhm.
So I want to thank you for being here. We gonna have to do this.
Yes,
We
please.
gonna
We
have to
had
do this again. But this was a wonderful conversation, and I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much, Coach Danny. I loved it. It was such a pleasure. We've had a whole pre-midweek service situation in
Right,
here.
right. Look, praise him.
Yes, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you so much.
All right, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for listening to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at CoachDanniD.com.